Hi, welcome back to my decorating series. We're going to go inside, go back to the 14th floor for an evil lair this week. So, this is one of those rooms that made it into my list mostly because I knew I was going to have objects for it. When it got added to the list, I wasn't exactly sure where it should fit with all of the other rooms that were already in the list, traditional home spaces, things like that. And as I've made my way through the rooms before this and seeing the rooms that I still had in my list as far as ideas go, this whole collection of rooms seemed like something that were a little bit over the top, a little bit less traditional, but definitely things I wanted to do. So, although this collection of rooms may not make sense as a group to others, I kind of started viewing it as like the throne room was the show space, and the rooms behind it were kind of more secret rooms or rooms that would seem to be off limits. And putting them kind of behind the throne might make it seem like, okay, you can come into the throne room, but you can't see what's behind it. And so that's kind of why these rooms are getting grouped together, besides the fact that they're a little bit more over the top and less traditional. So I have options. And instead of starting with walls and floors and ceiling like I usually like to do, I wanted to pull out as many objects as might fit. And there was some stuff that I had before now, which is part of the reason this room was in the list in the first place. But recently we have gotten a lot more stuff that could fit a villainous vibe. To be fair, these things do not have to be villainous. I just thought we could twist them that way if we wanted to. So like, witchy stuff is not inherently evil. Cauldrons are not inherently evil. Now, Yzma's stuff might be inherently evil, but it could be other things too. In any case, I knew there were a lot of things to choose from, and so I wanted to really throw as much stuff down in the room and then start playing with the walls and floors. I had an idea of the direction I wanted this room to go in the first place, but I did want to make sure I gave things an opportunity in case something really spoke to me as I was starting to put things down in the space. So now I'm really being indecisive about the walls and the floors, but it really doesn't take too terribly long to figure it out. I did struggle a bit. There was a little bit of a glitch with one of the wall pieces not switching over to the walls that I decided to use. So I went ahead and left a little earlier than I had planned. Yeah, here it is. It won't change for me. So I'm like, well, maybe if I go outside the room, maybe if I, go down on the floor and back in. Anyway, I couldn't get it to change. I decided to go to Scrooge's shop, and I took the opportunity to also exit and restart the game. Sometimes that is the answer if you are running into things behaving in a glitchy way, but it did finally let me change the wall. So I got Scrooge's shop and some crafting done a little bit earlier than I normally would have gone, but it worked out in the end for me. So I was really happy that that worked. Sometimes I know the glitches are a little hard, not in just this game, to cope with, but sometimes a simple fix is worth trying out. So now I'm trying to decide on what needs to stay. I knew I wanted to go a cauldron direction. I knew I wanted to go a witchy direction. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to look at, but as you can tell, I've already taken a bunch of that out. I knew I wanted to make sure that this room was divided into kind of a secret area, which is why I went ahead and used the vine walls. I know I've used them in a few other spaces. It is something I really enjoyed doing. And I kind of wanted to give the impression that if somebody ended up in this room, that maybe they might come in and go, oh, this really isn't anything but a little hallway, turn around and leave. But behind the vines is the meat of the room. Because we can't butt things up against each other, there are these gaps that I'm trying to kind of disguise a little bit with some pillars. And the effect works well enough for the restrictions of the mechanics and design abilities in this game. and we'll just have to pretend, because, you know, it's a video game. We can pretend all we want, right? So now I still have way too much stuff. I mean, if I could have made this room twice as big, I might have. But I need to block it out a little bit. I'm really glad I got to use those lever pieces from Yzma. I love how they look, and I like the fact that I can put stuff on the little kind of dais area in front of it, the little stone piece on the floor. So candles and those, they're not candelabras, but they're fire, and I just thought they looked really cool. I put a lot of fire in this room. This room is definitely a fire hazard in the end, but I love how it looks. I love that I got to use those mushroom wall pieces that we just got. All of these potion cabinets, and actually there's a potion cabinet that I didn't realize you could put stuff on top of, so I was really stoked about that, because it just allows us to, you know, customize and make things look even more full and interesting. And I'm really glad they're starting to give us more stuff like that, because I know we've been clamoring for some other pieces that we can't do that with. I'd love for them to go back and change that kind of thing, but if nothing else, at least they're adding stuff in now that gives us a little bit more surface area to play around with. And now I'm trying to find some tables. This space in the middle felt very, very empty to me, and I knew there were still a lot of objects that I didn't want to give up, so I needed some surface space for them. And I wanted a little seating area. Well, maybe not a seating area, but definitely a seat to put by the bookshelves. These new pieces that I got, I think the premium shop item has been around for a while, but it was Star Wars related. It was the Naboo design set, the interiors, and these wall fire things. I like how cozy and warm they look, and how they can be warm and kind of comforting, but also kind of ominous, and like the fire element just makes it feel like it could be in a villain's lair. And then I paired that with the incense burners from Mulan that hang from the ceiling, and the silhouette of the dragon and the top of the arch of the wall thing was really striking to me. So I'm glad that I paired those things together. And then I wanted a potion area, and I wanted, you know, like kind of a space where you would be working on your most, you know, recent spells and curses and potions and stuff, but also lots of storage. These green lights were awesome. The other one was I think it's the Nefarious chandelier that's purple. And I think when I do my reveal, I kind of linger on the purple shining through the vine walls. Just looks really interesting and cool to me. So it was fun to play with some of these villainous pieces that don't really fit in a ton of other places, because I don't know, there's just something about it. I maybe it's because I like spooky stuff and witchy stuff and creepy stuff and villainous stuff, and it's nice to get to play with that in that kind of way, as opposed to making it fit into other more regular type spaces. As usual, I want to put all the things in, so I'm like, I need some pumpkins, and I need some more plants, and I need some more of this. But I didn't want it to be so cramped we couldn't move in here, but I definitely wanted it feeling full. Thought about some books, just kind of out and about, and then I started getting weird about how many books I was putting next to candles. Maybe it's because I work in a library, and the thought of fire and paper together geeks me out, but I did want to throw at least one or two little books in here to add to just the clutter and the feel of the place. And now I'm just adding more candles, because I don't know what it is about it, but just candles on all the surfaces make me very happy in this space. And so, oh, yep, now I was trying to find some stuff for the walls and stuff that kind of fit the vibe a little bit. And I thought about these mirrors. I really like this, what is it, an octagon mirror? Looks very, very cool there. But I was reminded of the Evil Queen's mirror, and I don't put that in a lot of places because it is such a particular look. So I was like, I have to put it in this room. If any room that I make, this is the room. So some dried herbs on the walls. Oh, and then too late I realized, well, there's no windows in this room. I got these villainous windows, But by the time I got to this stage of the build, I was just like, this room doesn't need windows. It's a secret room, you know. It's a room for doing nefarious deeds. So I don't want windows, even if they are villainous windows. So I went ahead and didn't pursue that. And now I'm just making some final adjustments, seeing how things feel when I'm down on the ground, checking for more books. Oh, and I went ahead and made a couple of food items because I was thinking particularly of the evil queen from Snow White and how she makes a poison apple. So I made some apples, and then I made the dream fizz. I made at least one other dream fruit item because it looks like it's glowing, almost like it could be poisoned or toxic in some way, but I don't end up using it because once you put it down on the ground, it just looks pink. It doesn't really glow the same way. But I definitely wanted to imply that we were potentially brewing up some dangerous foods in this space. All right, well, let's go inside and check it out. Completing this room gets us halfway through the 14th floor. I'm having a really good time making these rooms. It's really fun to play with some of these objects that don't fit in some traditional spaces because it's kind of a fantasy game. You know, we're playing with like fairy tale story pieces, and so there's villainous stuff and there's royalty stuff, and it's really entertaining to throw those things in a room and see how they mix together. So the purples, the greens, the fire, the earthy things, the witchy things. I love all of the new objects that I got to use. I've been super excited since we got them. I've been waiting for the Naboo sets to come back around because of the decorative objects, and it was just perfect timing. Also, this cauldron won out of all of the cauldrons we have because you can change the colors on it. That is hands down the reason I picked it. The other ones are really cool, and I'm really hoping I can come up with some other spaces for them. But I love this chair, especially in this green light. It kind of gives it a sickly green glow. I love getting to use the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. Just all of these objects, just, I don't know. It's just so up my alley, totally my vibe. I could definitely make them not villainous, but it was really fun to get to play around with some villainous type things and just make an evil lair. I'm really excited about the next two rooms because they're also kind of secret spaces, but this one kind of was a standout as far as this floor goes. I'm not sure if I'm going to do very many other evil spaces, but I'm glad I got to do this one, and I'm looking forward to what we get to next week. That's it for today's decorating adventure. If you liked this video, a thumbs up is a great way to let me know, and a subscription will keep you up to date on my latest shenanigans. If you want to hang out with me live, I stream on YouTube and Twitch on Thursday evenings and middays on Sunday. I hope you have a lovely day, night, time, wherever you are, whenever you are. And I'll see you next time.